feel like I felt the need to be strong for my ex, which caused me to suppress a lot of issues. Like, even when he would do something wrong and I'll feel like, oh, he's hurting me, I'll just suppress it. Sometimes we'll try and talk about it, we will clash, and mind you, we were both very frustrated because we were far away from each other, so the frustration was already there. And when we were now having issues, it was just making things worse. And certain issues, we weren't actually resolving them, which means that I was holding grudges for so long, and then I will hold a grudge, and then after holding a grudge for so long, we will talk about it, but we won't really resolve the issue properly, and I will suppress it, and I will suppress it, and I will suppress it, suppress it. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you're having an amazing day or evening, depending on what time you watch me. If you're new here, hey, my name is Sergine. Welcome to my channel. You can just call me Serge. My channel is about motivating people becoming the best version of themselves. So please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like, share, and all the good stuff. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you know every time I'm posting a video. Yeah, so anyways, this introduction is long because I'm actually quite nervous about this topic, as you can see from the title of the video. Based on my get to know me tag, if you watched it, if you haven't watched it, I'm going to leave the link up here somewhere so you can go and watch it. Someone asked me if I was still engaged, and yeah, the answer is no. For those of you who don't know, if this is your first time on my channel, I was in a relationship for 7 years and I was engaged for almost a year, and I ended my engagement, so I'm no longer with my ex-fiance. So yeah, that relationship was a 7-year relationship. As you can imagine, it wasn't easy. I feel like most of my subscribers are people who know me, are people who are aware that I was engaged, and I feel like, you know, people just noticed that I wasn't wearing my ring anymore, I wasn't posting anymore, and it was kind of obvious that I was no longer engaged. And I just feel like I wasn't ready. Like, as you can imagine, being with someone for 7 years, it's not a joke. Breaking up with that person is almost like starting life all over again. Like, you don't know where to start from, you don't know what your life is going to be about. Like, I was just a mess. I was like, I was lost, and I didn't want to tell people about my breakup until I was ready, because, you know, it's like, with the people that you love, it's all right for you to cry. Like, personally for me anyway, it's like, I'm not the one to come on camera and start crying, or even talk to people, open up and just start crying to random people. So I feel like I was still sensitive to be able to talk about my breakup to people. So actually, it's going on to be, I mean, it's going to be 2 years soon since I ended my engagement, and most people don't know, most people are confused. Yes, so I feel like I have been posting things here and there. People are just trying to figure out what's going on, but I decided, you know what, I'm actually just going to come out and do a video and explain why. This is actually my second attempt of filming this video. The first time I filmed this video, I was a mess. I was like, nah. So yeah, this is the second time. But before I get into this video, I just want to, like, you know, give you guys a quick disclaimer. This is not one of those stories where, you know, you're going to hear that there was, you know, someone cheating on someone. It's not that kind of a story. It's not that kind of a breakup that, you know, is surrounded with drama. Like, my ex didn't cheat on me, I didn't cheat on him. So if you're looking for like drama, you're looking for gossip, you're looking to hear, you know, who did this to what, this is not, it's not it. Not every breakup is an ugly breakup, okay? So I just want to put a disclaimer out there before I talk about why we broke up or why I ended engagement. I just feel like I should give you a quick background on how we met so that the whole thing would make sense. So we met at university. I think it was like my first year of university, towards the end. He was an international student. We were friends, and then we fell in love and we got together. That's basically how we met. And yeah, year after year, we're growing stronger and stronger and stronger. I must admit that I never prayed for my future partner before. So I'm not talking about right now, like before I was dating my ex. I just found myself in situations whereby I will like get to know somebody or meet somebody, get to know them and fall in love with them and start a relationship. And then if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I break up and then yeah, I move on. I haven't really sat down to, that's the right word. I hadn't before my ex-fiance. I hadn't really, sat down, took time to pray for my future partner. It's not that I didn't hear this from church or I didn't hear this from people. People always used to advise me, or I used to hear everywhere, like it's important for you to pray for your life partner. I can't lie. I never took it as serious. So I never prayed before I met my ex for my future partner. I met my ex, let me just say that my ex is an amazing person, and I feel like being with him has really helped me to grow. So I'm not coming here to like say I regret spending those 7 years with him, because I feel like those 7 years were one of like the greatest years of my life, because I've grown, I've got to know myself. I learned a lot of things from him. He taught me how to be strong, how to be independent. So he was an amazing guy. He was a really great guy. And that's why I was with him for 7 years. I mean, every relationship you have issues. We had our issues, but I didn't feel like those issues were serious enough to, break the relationship. Anyways, while I was in a relationship, I realized that I hadn't prayed. There was a point in my life I was like, okay, I need to start praying now for my future with this person. And I can't lie to you, like when you're praying for your future and you're already in a relationship and you're in love, your prayer is a bit biased, because in a way you're wishing to be with that person and hoping that God is going to make you be with that person. But I have to be honest with you and say, every time I prayed, I said, God, I want your will to be done. If he's not the one for me, please take him away from me peacefully and in a nice way possible, and take care of me, because I knew that if I was to break up with my ex, I was going to be a mess. And I was a mess, I can't lie, because he was an amazing guy. He treated me like a queen. Like, I was happy. Okay, that's what I'm saying. This is not one of those stories where you're coming for drama, or I'm going to tell you that he did this to me or he wronged me in this way. Like, there was none of that. I was actually happy. And the only thing was that I didn't pray. I never prayed for my future husband. So yeah, we were in a relationship, but I decided to start praying while we were dating. And I was praying and I would say, God, please, take him away from me if he's not the one for me. If he's the one for me, please show me signs. And guys, I never had any dream. I didn't have any sign whatsoever that he wasn't my husband. That's why I wasn't, because it's like I was praying. I think I probably started praying seriously 3 years into the relationship, and there was nothing that was indicating that I should walk away from the relationship. So for me, it was like, okay, God is not saying anything. He's treating me like a queen. Cool. He proposed to me 6 years after we're dating, and I said yes, and we did the introduction. If you don't know, introduction is basically where the two families come together. It's just basically like an engagement, like you're officializing your engagement. We did that, and I need to go back. Like I said before, he was an international student when we met. So as we were dating, he was in, at university, and I was at university. So I think 2 years before we got engaged, he had to go back to his country. And personally for me, I feel like that's when things became serious, because we were in a relationship for 5 years. We saw each other almost every day. We went to the same uni. So we saw each other every day. So we went from seeing each other every day to not seeing each other at all. And for me personally, and I think I wrote it down here, I broke it down into 3 main categories. I feel like what sort of caused the breakup was like distance, not praying for a life partner, and suppressing issues, which I will get to that later on. But anyways, he had to go back to his country, and we now had to do the whole long distance relationship. In the beginning, I was like, okay, cool, like I love my man, it is what it is. Like, we're just going to, or the plan was for him to come back to the UK, but we were still in a relationship, and because we weren't engaged or we weren't married, it was just like, okay, we're just gonna continue being together until he proposes and until we get married and all the good stuff. Anyways, he then went back, and then it was all right in the beginning. I was like, okay, cool, you know, we're gonna you know, get there. I must say that when he went back to his country, I felt the need to be really strong for him, because obviously I knew how much he loved me, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy for him to leave me here. So I felt the need to be strong for him. So that basically caused me to suppress a lot of issues that we were having. And before I continue, I just want to say that I'm just giving a broad view of the breakup. I am not going to go into specifics. There was a lot of issues that were happening that I was suppressing. There was a lot of them, but I'm not going to specify them. I'm just going to give a broad view of what caused those issues. I feel like I felt the need to be strong for my ex, you know, which caused me to suppress a lot of issues. Like, even when he would do something wrong and I'll feel like, oh, he's hurting me, I'll just suppress it. Sometimes we'll try and talk about it, we will clash, and mind you, we were both very frustrated because we were far away from each other, so the frustration was already there. And when we were now having issues, it was just making things worse. And certain issues, we weren't actually resolving them, which means that I was holding grudges for so long, and then I will hold a grudge, and then after holding a grudge for so long, we will talk about it, but we won't really resolve the issue properly, and I will suppress it, and I will suppress it, and I will suppress it. And then I just felt like we weren't dealing with issues properly. And because I felt the need to be strong for him, I felt the need to be that woman that would not be nagging all the time. And to be fair, I also felt like there were situations whereby he wasn't taking accountability of how he was hurting me. So it upset me even more, which just made me resent him. And I remember at a point I just was suppressing everything. So something will happen, I'll just be like, you know what, whatever, I'll just leave it. You know what, whatever, I'll just leave it. And then that just, yeah, it just caused me to just bottle up, basically. In the meantime, while we got engaged, I was doing marriage counselling. So in my church, when you're engaged and you're about to get married, you have to do marriage counselling. And I can't lie, those counselling just made me the counseling session just made me think a lot more. As I was going for the counseling, as I was thinking about questions that were asked, I was also just asking myself if I was basically doing the right thing. And I was still praying. Even though I was engaged, I was still praying. I was saying to God, look, if he's not the one for me, please take him away from me, but take care of me. Anyways, cut the long story short, I was suppressing a lot of issues while I was doing counseling, and he came to see me a couple of times, one of which he proposed. Actually, when he proposed to me was when he came to visit me, and then he proposed and he went back, and that was like a year after. So he proposed to me a year after he went back to his country. After the year, when, you know, we were engaged, things became more serious, because when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, there's certain things that you don't really talk about. But when you're engaged, you have to talk about everything. You have to talk about finance, you have to talk about buying a house, you have to talk about how you're going to settle, where you're going to settle. All these things, they become very serious. And when you're far apart, when you're suppressing a lot of issues, you're frustrated, and you now have to talk about these serious conversation, it was just, yeah, it wasn't great for me. I can't lie. It wasn't great. I wasn't in a good place. So anyways, he came to visit me. This was the last time before I ended my engagement. He came to see me, but I had gone through so much with him, and I'd suppressed a lot of stuff at that point that I was very resentful. And I remember when he came, I was just like, yo, I think we need to talk to the counselor. We need to see someone, because I couldn't even hold his hand. Like, I was so resentful towards him because I was just bottling up so many things, and I was ready to explode. And you know, because I was ready to explode also, I think there's certain situations that even when I was wrong, I wasn't seeing that I was wrong, because I was offended so many times, and I kept those malice, I kept those grudges inside of me that I was just like a a time ticking bomb, basically. Anyways, he came to see me. I was very resentful. He noticed that I was very resentful towards him. So we agreed on going for a counseling session together. And cut the long story short, after the counseling session, I just felt like we didn't resolve anything. I felt like nothing was resolved. I felt even worse than I was already feeling. And I was just like, okay, God. I remember there was one question that was asked and it was just like a light bulb like in my head. And I thought, oh, like, I'm not sure I'm feeling this. And guys, like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there were other issues happening around this time to do with getting married, preparing to get married. And there was just a lot of disagreements plus suppressing issues plus frustration plus distance. Was in a good place. We finished the counseling session and I went home. Like I said, I felt like I'm not ready to get married. At that point, I didn't think that I wanted to end the engagement, but I knew that I didn't want to get married soon. I felt like we had to deal with those issues before we got married, because what that made me realize, it was that as a couple, we weren't able to resolve our issues. And because we weren't able to resolve our issues, I don't really want to get married with someone when I know that I can't resolve issues with them. Because when you're in a relationship, you have to resolve issues. It's inevitable that you're going to have issues. And if you can't resolve them, you're just going to be like two enemies living together. So I knew at that point that I didn't want to get married at that time. But I didn't know that I wanted to end the engagement. So I doubled the amount of time that I was praying. I remember having a conversation with my mom. I remember going home, and I think it was actually that day. If you're Congolese or you're African, like when you get engaged, they will give your husband to be a list of the things that he needs for, you know, to pay for your bride price. And I remember the day that we actually did our last counseling was the day that my brother gave me the letter to go and give to my ex-fiance. And I was asking my mom, like, Mom, I don't know what to do, because I was just thinking, I don't want to get married now. I just want to put everything on hold, solve our issue, then move on to getting married. Anyways, I doubled the amount of time of prayer. I was really praying. I was asking my mom to pray seriously, because to be fair, my mom always asked me, do you know, have you heard from God? Have you been praying? I was like, yes, I have been praying, but God is not saying anything. So it means that he's okay with me to get married with my man. Anyways, I then decided that, you know what, I want us to work on things. I don't want to get married anymore. I want us to work on our relationship and see like where we're gonna go. And he went back to his country and I stayed. When he went back, I just felt like we were even further apart from where we were. And I was so confused. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. There was a time where I was actually feeling like, God, is this the devil trying to take away what you have blessed me with? Like, I didn't understand. I was just in between two minds. I felt like, one, is either God doesn't want me to get married, or the devil is trying to take away what God has blessed me with. Because, like I said, we had issues, yes. We were frustrated, yes. But in my head, I was just thinking, those are things that, as a couple, you should be able to resolve. I didn't feel like those issues were, you know, enough for me to walk away. But after a while, I realized that that was God speaking to me and telling me that it's no, like, don't go ahead with it. But guys, it was so hard, because it's so much better. Every time I speak to my friends, I say it's so much better for you to break up with somebody if they've wronged you, like they've cheated on you, or you've cheated on them, or, you know, or they've done something proper, like bad. In my situation, that wasn't the case. I was still in love with this guy. I loved him so much. We just had a lot of hiccups. We had a lot of disagreements. We had a lot of, you know, I was suppressing a lot of issues, which is not good. Guys, please, if you're in a relationship, it's not healthy to suppress issues. I'm gonna hold my hand up and say, you know what, that wasn't good. I'm not regretting that, because I feel like everything worked together for me. But at the same time, I know that moving on in my next relationship, I will not, and I should not be holding grudges and bottling up and suppressing things. It's not good. I was praying. I asked my mom to pray with me. We were praying together. And the more I prayed, the more uncomfortable I became. Guys, I became very uncomfortable with the idea of getting married to my ex. I don't know why, but it just didn't sit well with me. And during this time, we were talking, and as I'm actually in the process of actually trying to figure out what to do, we were still disagreeing on a lot of things that I'm not going to go into. And I just thought, even when it came to like the whole getting married thing, we weren't agreeing on pretty much anything. So I came to the sad conclusion of just saying that, okay, I'm not gonna get married with my ex, because every time I thought of marrying him, I didn't have peace. I didn't have peace. It's different feeling nervous, because I feel like when you're getting married, you're gonna feel nervous anyway, because it's unknown territory if you've never been married before. But I wasn't nervous. I was not comfortable. I couldn't see myself spend the rest of my life with him anymore. Honestly, guys, I cannot explain why. I feel like the answer is the fact that I was praying, and that was God's way of answering me. God speaks to us in different ways. Sometimes he doesn't speak. He says wait. Sometimes he says yes. Sometimes he says no. And I feel like he was telling me no. And yes, I decided to end my engagement after 7 years. As you can imagine, it was horrible. It was disgusting. And I think for me, it was the relationship I had with his family, especially his mom. Like she loved me like I was her own, and I loved his family so much. So I would say it hurt me. I wasn't just breaking up with him, I was breaking up with his family. And it's so funny because the world wouldn't know, especially in today's world with social media. You would see somebody and you think they're okay. I cannot tell you how low I was. I was so depressed. I felt like I lost it all. I didn't know what my life was going to be. I didn't know where I was going to start again. And I felt alone, even though I had a strong support system. Like, shout out to my friend Yomi, Christelle, my sister, my mom, my brother, Yaseverine. Like, these people were there for me. Like, I mean, my mom was praying for me. I was in the dark, guys. I was depressed because I was still in love with him. I was still in love, and I didn't understand why. It's just because I prayed, and I was seriously praying, and I was saying to God, like, and I was so sincere with God, and I was just saying, God, like, I know I love this guy so much, but if he's not the one for me, please take him away, but give me peace, because there was no other reason. Like, I can't sit here and tell you he did this to me, did that to me. We both offended each other in, throughout our relationship, just like anybody else. But he wasn't a bad person. He was a great guy. Everybody who knows that this guy treated me like a queen. But love is not enough, guys. Love is not enough. And, you don't have to get married just because this person is a great person. The person has to be your destiny partner. And I know there are a lot of people out there who don't believe in the one. I'm one of those people. I believe that there's the one for you, and I believe that life is much better if you're doing life with your life partner. And I just got to a point where I felt like he wasn't the one. Yeah, it was very tough. I spent 6 months pretty much in the dark. I would sit in this room with all these lights. It didn't look like this. This room didn't look like this. I didn't shower for days. I didn't eat for days. I remember, like, my friend would come and literally they would, like, plan with my sister to find a way to just take me out, to go outside, go and eat something. And they wouldn't care if I would leave my house in my pajamas, just because I wouldn't even leave my house. It was a worst time of my life, but I came out strong. God really took care of me. I'm sorry if this wasn't the story you were expecting, because, most time people are expecting people to, like, go through, like, cheating or infidelity, or that wasn't my story. My story is just that I began to pray, and I wanted God to show me if my ex was the one. And things became worse and worse and worse. The more I prayed, the more misunderstandings we had. The more I prayed, the more misunderstanding we had. The more I go deeper and deeper and deeper into prayer, the more we argued. So for me, that was just like, it was just clear. That's my story, guys. I'm doing okay. It's going to be 2 years now. But I just wanted to put it out there. That's what happened, and that's my breakup story. To conclude, my breakup was really because of 3 things: distance, the fact that I was suppressing issues and I wasn't dealing with issues, which caused me to resent my ex a lot more, and not praying for my life partner. And one thing I've taken from this is that, guys, you need to pray for your life partner. Even if you're in a relationship, pray and ask God to show you if that person is the one. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably not what you expected to hear, but that's my truth, that's my story. Like I said, I didn't want to go deep into those issues because then we'd sleep here, because those issues were a lot and it's not really necessary. And I'm not here to just lie and say, okay, my ex is a bad person, he's horrible. He's not. He's a great guy, he's amazing. Anybody that meets him would be blessed. But he just wasn't the one for me. I'm gonna sign out for now, and I am going to wish you an amazing week, an amazing day, an amazing evening, depending on what you're doing. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, comment. I will see you in my next video. God bless you now. Take care. Bye.